Site of the first land battle of the American Civil War, the only covered bridge in the country to facilitate a U.S. highway, and a childhood home of Lurch from the Addams family, I'm Wayne Worth, and you are watching On the Road in West Virginia, our 55 counties, Barbour County. Now I know most of you are probably like, Lurch, raised in Barbour County? That's just way too cool. However, long before he was around, a man named Richard Talbot and both his brother and sister set up shop just down the river about a few miles from current-day Philippi. Now it was around 1780 and tension between the natives and the white settlers in Western Virginia were at an all-time high. So one would think that the Talbots were living dangerously. However, it was the opposite. The Tigert River Valley around the Philippi area was a pretty quiet place at that time. Now, Philippi officially became a town in 1844, and soon after in 1861 also became the site of the first land battle of the Civil War. Well, it wasn't necessarily a battle, it was more of an encounter. The Confederate forces were on their way to Grafton in Taylor County to take control of the B&O Railroad. The short version of the story is that when the Confederates came upon the Union forces and saw that they were outnumbered by 2,200, they pretty much hit the road and retreated. This is why some historians refer to the battle as a Philippi Races. Believe it or not, no one was killed, but a couple of Confederate soldiers suffered leg wounds and had to have their legs amputated. One of these soldiers was James Hanger, who lost his leg in the battle. This is the same dude who founded Hanger Prosthetics, a company which still exists today. A month later, here at Laurel Hill in Belington, another battle, or should I say a series of skirmishes, took place. The Battle of Laurel Hill was a 5-day series of skirmishes, as the Confederate forces were doing very well seizing vital routes in the Beverly-Fairmont Turnpike. Things changed very quickly though on July 11, 1861, the 5th day, when word got to Confederate General Garnett that the Union Army under General George McClellan just won a key battle at Rich Mountain. The Confederate forces were now cut off, and like Philippi, the races began. During the retreat, General Garnett was killed and became the first general of the entire war to be killed in action. Now, like many West Virginia communities, the late 1800s and early 1900s brought a lot of prosperity, and Barbour County was no different. The early coal and timber booms of the late 1800s really helped many communities throughout the county grow. The icing on the cake, though, was when the West Virginia Central and Pittsburgh Railway, later known as the Western Maryland Railroad, came to Belington and then connected with the B&O in Philippi. Things really started to rock and roll economically in Barbour County. However, coal began to peak in the late 1940s and has declined in production ever since. As for the timber industry, it still remains a very important industry, though it's not nearly where it was in the early 1900s when Barbour County was a virgin forest. One industry, though, that has stood the test of time and is still a viable part of the economy today is farming. Pretty much everyone who has over 10 acres of land, excluding any kind of major overgrowth of wild vegetation, has some kind of farm, whether that farm is on a hill or on flat land. During the time when Barbour County was seeing their greatest economic boom, the Broadus Institute, which is now called Alderson Broadus University, moved to town in 1909. Now, Alderson Broadus University got its name from a merger of the Broadus Institute and the Alderson Academy. This happened in 1932 and subsequently became a 4-year college. Believe it or not, Alderson Broadus was the first college in West Virginia to offer a 4-year nursing degree. Down the road a piece is a one-of-a-kind 23-room Greek Revival mansion, or as we call it today, the Adaland Mansion. The mansion is a preserved reflection of West Virginia during the late 1800s when industry started to boom. The original landowner who also built the home, Augustus Modisette, was a prominent landowner, farmer, and politician. He later sold the estate to the Honorable Ira Robinson, who at that time was a justice on the West Virginia Supreme Court. Today the mansion is a pretty cool tourist destination with a lot of historical artifacts from the Civil War era. It is also a very nice place to have a wedding, but my personal favorite about the Adaland Mansion is definitely their flavored sweet tea. Now, one of our state's best kept secrets along the mighty Middle Fork is Auger State Park. Built in 1948, Auger State Park is not your most popular West Virginia state park. However, it is one of the few state parks where you can kayak down some rough water or just chill on a boardwalk under a pretty cool cave. Now, we can't tell the story of Barbour County without at least mentioning the Philippi covered bridge behind us. This West Virginia treasure was built in 1852 by a pretty popular bridge builder named Lemuel Chenoweth. The bridge during the Civil War was used by Union troops as a barracks right after the Battle of Philippi. The covered bridge survived a civil war in the flood of 1985, but on one February day in 1989, the bridge was nearly destroyed when a fuel truck overfilled a fuel tank at a local gas station, which resulted in a stream of fuel running down to the west end of the bridge. Now, it's been said that the car's exhaust system backfired, which sparked a massive fire and nearly destroyed the bridge. A major statewide effort to restore the bridge resulted in the bridge reopening on September 16, 1991. Today, the Philippi Covered Bridge is still the only covered bridge in the country that facilitates a U.S. highway. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. 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 Oh, it's time to tell the story of Lurch. Well, his real name is Ted Cassidy, and before he played the character of Lurch in the once popular show The Addams Family, he was raised as a child here in Philippi. Now, Ted, believe it or not, was quite intelligent and gifted. He attended the 3rd grade at the age of 6, and during his freshman year in high school, he stood 6'1", played football and basketball, and oh yeah, I forgot, he was only 11 years old. And though it may have been strange to have a 6'1", 11-year-old outperforming you both on the basketball court and in the classroom, it couldn't be nearly as strange or as cool, depending on what your preference is, as Grand Hamrick's 130-year-old mummies that are on display here behind us in the museum. And for $1, you could even take a peek. I'm Wayne Worth, and until next time, always remember, what we value and hold important to our lives today came from events that happened yesterday, and it's when we begin to understand the events of yesterday that we fully embrace today, which makes tomorrow become less of a mystery.